Hey guys, it's Rob from Ruinworks, bringing you my latest scene, the Crypts Beneath Tower Bridge. This is a 4-level crypt scene, featuring 4 distinct levels, elevation changes between them. There's some traps, there's sepulchres, the sarcophagi. There's interaction points to remove the lids off the sarcophagi, and I'm just going to bring you a few of the highlights of this, just so you get a bit of an idea of what can be done with this scene. First thing that I want to highlight for you guys are the sepulchres, which appear in the walls. They're all customizable via this transform button here. It's easiest to show if you have a token selected. So with a token, I step closer to the sepulchre and it reveals. There's an overhead tile here that is set to fade. So whenever a token is close enough to the sepulchre, the tile will fade out and they can look inside. Transform button was here, so if I just click it, you can see the inside of the sepulchre is changing. I'll try zooming in a bit so it's a bit clearer. That is the sepulchres. Second thing I wanted to highlight were the chandeliers in this same room. There's 3 different settings for the chandeliers that can be selected from the margins: dark, alight, and fallen. Fallen actually puts it down to minus level 2, so it's on the ground. That's useful if you want to have them drop during a fight, someone's dropping them as a trap or whatever. To simply switch the images, all you need to do is click the icon. So if you hit the dark, the icon changes and the chandelier is brought up to the level, but they're not lit. If you hit a light, they actually show the fires burning in the chandeliers. So that's the chandeliers. Pretty simple, but a bit of utility there for you. The next thing that I wanted to demonstrate was a pit trap in this room here. It is activated when a token enters the hash tile shown in the middle of the room. This will switch the image of the pit trap to a hole, and it will also send a message to the GM asking if they want to trigger the trap. I'll demonstrate that now. Pause. There's a sound played, and the GM, you can see the image has changed. There's now a hole in the floor, and the GM has sent this message. This gives you a chance to have the PCs roll a saving throw. If they descend down the trap, the token will move them through a chute down into another room on level -3. So I'll just demonstrate how that would work. If you hit yes, the token is moving. I'm not moving it, moving by itself, and it is forced into this chamber at the bottom, and the game is still paused. Next, there's just a couple things I wanted to show here. One, every time you use a door, the image will change and the sound will play for the door opening. Additionally, double-clicking on torches will make the torch light up and a light be activated. So just a couple of utility items there. The main reason I'm bringing you to this room is the main feature probably of the dungeon itself is the sinking stair that appears in this room. There's a clue hidden in the interaction point here, which is essentially says we're supposed to lead the PCs to understand that the 3 statues in the room down here at the bottom and the 2 close to the sinking stairs all need to be activated at once. I'll demonstrate what happens when it is activated, and then I will go into explaining this. So as you can see, the sinking stairs fell into the ground, allowing access to level -3 since we're on level -2 right now. That was done via this button in the margin. I just clicked the open sinking stairs button and the stairs opened. Similarly, I can hit the close button to close them. And now they're closed again. Some notes: when you open the sinking stairs, another tile beneath them will activate, which allows an elevation change for any tokens that enter that tile. For PCs to activate the stairs themselves, they would have to trigger each of the statues. Beside each statue, I have these 3 buttons. The first one being trigger, which means the GM can trigger it themselves. So if I just click it, you hear the sound play, a light up, and this little token over in the side moved. So this here is my statue lever counter. It counts how many levers of the statues have been pulled. The reason this is important is because there's a limited time duration for the activation of each statue lever, meaning all the statues have to be activated within a short time frame. So if I push this trigger 2 for statue 2, you hear the sound, you see the light turn on, and you see this token move down. After 2 seconds, the token moves back and the light shuts off, meaning the statue is no longer activated. When all 3 are activated within 2 seconds, this counter will enter the hashed square at the bottom of the statue lever counter, and when it enters this square, it triggers the opening of the stairs tile. So I can demonstrate that quickly. Trigger, trigger, trigger. And you see it enter the last square, and now the sinking stair is triggered. That's how you trigger the trap manually if you are the GM. If you want the PCs to trigger the trap, you go to the show button here. What this does is shows a little interaction point the PCs can use to hit the trigger button themselves. So if there's a token nearby, it can double click on the interaction point, ask them if they want to pull down on the statue's pommel. They say yes, and you can hear that they did do the one trigger for statue 1. So the trick to opening the door is having 3 PCs, one by this interaction point, another by this interaction point, which you would have to show again to them to trigger, and one by the third at the bottom. They would all have to trigger their individual statues within 2 seconds, and then the clue, as mentioned before, is provided here on the shield. If I open up, if I get a character over here, they can open up the inscription on the shield. It says, "Knights to keep their passage free, grasp their blades in unity." So that's just a clue to tell the PCs that they all need to activate 3 swords at the same time. Now you might be wondering, why are my interaction points hidden? I did this on purpose because I don't like having it obvious to the players what they need to do. Hiding them gives the PCs a bit of chance to actually think about what they need to do. It doesn't draw their attention to the statues necessarily. But then once they figure it out, I can show the interaction point for them to use it themselves. If you go down the stair now that it's open, you can see that leads into level -3. And there is a lever on the bottom side, which also activates the sinking stairs. I'm just going to demonstrate another trap for you here. This is a fire trap, so when a PC steps on the pressure plate again, it might be a bit faded here because I've hidden the tile, but there's a hash tile on the floor in this location. If a PC steps on it, they trigger the trap. I'll demonstrate that now. Pauses, a sound plays of the fire, and then a fire overlay tile. The reason I paused the game is so that you can apply damage, roll saving throws, what you want before the PCs continue on in the dungeon. Also, for both these traps, I have made reset buttons in the margins. So for the pit trap, just outside the room, there's a reset button. You just click it, and the trap resets. Same for the fire trap. This one's on level -3. You can see the fire trap here. I can reset it. If you don't like the PCs triggering the fire trap themselves, there's also an activate manually button. And the tile appears. Here I just thought I would highlight some of the customization options. Here we have the royal tomb. You can customize the lid of the sarcophagus and the interior, so I'll just go through the interior first. Just click the buttons in the margin, and you can choose whichever interior you like. There's also this exclamation point on top, an interaction point, so if you have PCs there, they can double click it. Just ask them if they want to remove or replace the sarcophagus lid. I'm going to say yes, it shows the lid a bit more clearly. And then you can also select whichever lid you want. This is also similar to the altar in the room just above. You can select between various different altars. There's a couple of bad ones. There's a sleeping roll, there's some treasure, and there's also a good altar. I thought I would just highlight sarcophagi as well. These are also fully customizable, both the lid and the interior. There's also an interaction point which allows PCs to remove the sarcophagus. And now the sarcophagus lid is off to the side, and you can see the interior. To customize the interior, you would hit one of these transform buttons. It allows you to put whatever image you want in there. This is great for hiding items or monsters. If you want to change the lid, let's go back to the lid one so it's easier to see. You just click the other transform button. And that's for all the sarcophagi inside of this dungeon, and there are quite a few of them. As always, I've put the guide journal note in the top left-hand margin of the scene. You can just double-click on that to find out info on all the different rooms, how they work, there as always. I've tried cross-referencing them as best as possible. Hopefully this helps you figure out the scene. It's not too difficult. I tried making everything just clickable so you don't have to do too much yourselves.